I don't know if you can tell, but listen, I am so nervous. I am so uncomfortable about what we're going to talk about today. I am super duper uncomfortable, but I do believe that it is a conversation that must be had. It is a conversation I wish I had had with my parents. Y'all, we're about to talk about the birds and the bees. The birds and the bees right here on Moments with FA. We're talking about love, life, and God. Now, if you grew up in a typical African household like I did, I am originally from Sierra Leone, West Africa, then we know, and you know, and I know for a fact that probably 98.9% you did not have a proper sex education, a proper sex conversation with your parents. You probably learned about sex from the TV. You probably learned it when your friend turned on something they weren't supposed to turn on when you went to go visit them at their house. You probably either learned them from school or something. But we didn't really get the education. We didn't get the knowledge. We didn't get the proper talk as we ought to. I know I didn't. Listen, I'm almost 30. And my parents and we've never discussed the birds and the bees. And I wish I had. Because if I had, I wouldn't have gotten exposed to that world the way I did. So let me talk about how I found out about sex. You can tell I'm uncomfortable talking about this, right? Yeah, I am. Because it's a topic that we didn't freely talk about. In church, we're taught it's only for married people, which yes, it's only for married people, that you have no business to worry about it if you're single and this and this and this. But even it's only for married, it's stopped there. It's only for married people. Even with married people, they don't take them aside. Some churches may, but they don't take them aside. Like, okay, let's talk about healthy sex in marriage. Let's talk about this, because there are people who are married and they're watching porns while, trying to compare it to whatever. And, it wasn't really talked about like that. And like I said, growing up in a typical African household, if your parents heard you talk about the sex, or you're thinking about it, then they beat you 10. And because we didn't have proper conversation about this, the kids, like I mentioned, like I did, we go out there and we learn it from the wrong sources. And unfortunately, some people they can talk to me. And when they do, they come to the house. What do they do? Oh, you are a kid picking. You good for nothing picking. You don't disappoint. What did you do? This and this and this. Because we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. So how did I learn about sex? How did I learn? First and foremost, I thought my parents did not do it, okay? Never caught them, praise the Lord. Praise Jesus Christ, because that would have scarred me. But my first introduction wasn't the act of it per se. My first introduction was through a friend, a family friend. So we lived in a different apartment, and there was kids, by the way. They were all gathered together and they was watching something. And I went, I'm like, hey, it's time for us to play. This is like literally like at the middle school days. Like, it's time for us to play. Let's go play. And guess what was on their TV? PORN was what they was watching. So after going to that house and I saw it was on the TV, of course as a kid, y'all, I'm not gonna sit here and act like all saints and I didn't watch it or I didn't know. No, I sat down just like every other kid that was in the house. There's about like 5-7 of us there, and I sat down and I watched, and this whole time I was like this, oh my god. Like I'm the type of person, when I watch something, I talk to the TV. So I was like, why? Ew. But I kept watching, I still watch. And I wish I hadn't, because by the time I left the house, and I left my bike outside, I left the apartment, I opened the door, and the bike I brought with me, somebody stole the bike. So that I wish I hadn't stayed, because I would have had my bike. But anywho, I did watch it, and it started bringing curiosity. It started doing stuff to my mind, and I started thinking about it. And in fact, I started going through my parents, so just looking to see if maybe they had some things I can watch. And I must tell myself yes, and I found something. Oh, my parents gonna kill me for talking about this. But that was many years ago, okay? I found something, and whenever they weren't home, I would put it on. And I was doing this, and thank goodness, I'm the type of person that I'm easily disgusted by things. Especially like, slimy stuff and snakes and this and just certain stuff. And growing up, people used to say, oh, you're so naive. Like, you know, this is normal. You know, people do this. Like, I didn't want to see, you know, body parts, other people's body parts except mine. Like, I didn't want to see any of these things. And I've always been that type of person. And I believe, you know, that's what really saved me from going down that path of, or, you know, continue. Because I watched PORN for like 3 to 4 times. And then I just never watched it again because I was just so disgusted. I couldn't understand the bodily discharge and the discharges and this. And it was just, I'm so sorry to be descriptive. I'm so sorry. But it was just so nasty to me. And I just stopped and I never watched it again. I'm so grateful for that. God, you were the best, honestly. God protected me in that area. I never watched it again. But because I went to this girl's place and she exposed me and started talking about, oh, this is how to do self, and I'm just like, what the heck? What are y'all doing? I just came for us to go play balance ball, but it's kind of like dodgeball, but I don't know how to describe balance ball, but it's kind of like dodgeball. I just came for us to go play a game, like to go play this rope game, for us to go do jumping rope, and y'all are here doing all, like, seriously? But that's how I was exposed. Then when they moved, they went to a different apartment. And I don't know why I did not learn my lesson, but it was the same girl. We were all in this room and she was just like, and we were all in the same age range, so we weren't that much of a difference. Maybe she was maybe like 1 or 2 years older than me. And she was just like, you know, I just learned something. I want to show all of you guys. And she was talking about like I said, I'm still not comfortable talking about this yet, okay? I'm coming. But she was talking about all this stuff and whatnot, and I'm just here like, what the heck? Like, literally, even up to now, there's certain things that my friends were like, you are so, you act like you live under the rock. You act like you're so holy, so saint. I'm just like, it's not me acting. It's just literally me. I'm just so easily disgusted. I'm like, ew. Like, don't talk about certain stuff. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to imagine. I don't want my imagination to be that wild. Don't. But they're just, and she was just doing all this stuff, and I got exposed to seeing all of that, and I'm just like, bruh. But somehow, God used my innocence, you know, me being naive about everything. Naive. To me, I didn't think I was naive. I loved how my mindset is and how it was at that time. And, you know, of course, you know, people made fun of me about it, but that's cool because, hey, I'm good, they're good. I'm doing my due, they do their due, okay? But all this stuff, and, you know, God was able to somehow help me preserve that, and I kept myself, and throughout, you know, all that stage in middle school and high school and college, and just God was just amazing in a way. I don't know how God did it, but the point is I got exposed to all of that, and I went digging for it in the house. And meanwhile, things were happening in the house, but there wasn't anyone to talk to me about it. It was because people either avoided it, they thought it was uncomfortable, like how it is uncomfortable for me, but it wasn't properly discussed. And that is what we need to have conversation on about in our homes. I honestly do wish my parents had had the burden to be conversation with me. And I'm making this video, and as uncomfortable as I am, it has to be said, especially for us in the African community. Your daughter is going out there getting pregnant, either for the first time after involving herself with somebody. Your son is going out there being pressured in the world that, hey, you know, because you're a man, you're supposed to, you know, it's okay, you're not supposed to be a virgin because you're a man, and this and this. Only ladies are supposed to keep themselves as a man, this and this and this. We're teaching, because that's what the world is teaching. The world is teaching all these unhealthy things. But if we sat down, we spoke to our kids, like, hey, these things are actually happening in the world. People, what used to be sacred is now, if you don't do it, it's a problem. If you don't do it, you're lame. If you don't do it, then something's wrong with you. And we're teaching, okay, just keep yourself to yourself. Don't do anything, you know, whatever. Save it for your husband, save it for your wife. And that's what we stop. But we don't really talk about. You can tell I'm uncomfortable, right? I'm trying to say something, but I'm so uncomfortable to talk about it. But I'm trying to educate. I'm trying. So bear with me. But the world, and I always say this to my younger brother, you know, he's a teenager, he's 15, about to be 16. So there's a whole lot of testosterone, there's a whole lot of things going on, there's a whole lot of things he wants to explore. But I've made it a duty, because my parents, I don't think my mom ever spoke to him about it either, But I kind of put myself in that parent position. I started talking to him about it. I'm here like, listen, I know you know these things. Where I'm not gonna be like our parents and pretend like you don't know SES. You don't know PORN. I'm spelling them because it makes it more comfortable to talk about it, okay? I'm trying. I'm not gonna pretend like you don't know these things. You don't know what's going on, or you don't see it on TV, because every single TV, you see it on every single show. Like, they are highlighting these things so much. And I don't want you to go out there and learn from the wrong source. I don't want you to go out there and learn like how I did from those kids. And by the way, as parents, we gotta be careful the kids you expose your children to. Listen, just because they're kids doesn't mean when you go somewhere, but okay, yeah, go join the kids. Yeah, go be with the kids. Because that child is exposed to something that you have not exposed your child to. And that's how they're gonna, it's influence, right? That's how they're gonna expose that child to that. And so forth and so forth. Because I remember one of my family members who introduced them to PORN was a friend at the age of 7 years old. Because we didn't do that in our home. We didn't talk about that. We didn't watch that. It wasn't anywhere next to us. They went over to their friend's place. They watched some just how I did. And now the person started watching it, and it's just been downhill after that. So those things do happen. So be careful who you let your kids stay around. Don't just be absent-minded, because baby, them kids today are doing stuff. And I know we did it when we were little too. We did our own things. Yes, we did. But now, because everything is so accessible, because we have this, it's so easily accessible because we have this. And a lot of stuff are not blocked. And there's some parents who are not blocking these things off for their children. They're not blocking things. Everybody got a phone. My goddaughter is 7 years old. Guess what? She got an iPhone 14. So everybody has a phone. Everybody has something. So please be careful who you let watch your child, who your kids are playing with. Just be careful. Anywho, I digress. So I told my younger brother, I said, there are things I'm going to talk to you about today. There are things I'm going to, do. Yes, I do need help with my deliverance. I do need help with, the attitude, the tones. I talk about it. But the way I'm going to teach you, the way I'm going to show you these things, I want you to realize when the world is going to teach you its lesson, it's not going to be kind about it. It's not going to ask, how old are you? Are you ready for this conversation? This is the way, the healthy way. It's not going to talk about condoms. It's not going to talk about protection. It's not going to talk about STDs. They're just going to say, go out there, have SES. Go out there and, have a lot of body counts. Go out there and, if you're a man and you don't have this and this and this, it means you're lame. As a man, you shouldn't be a virgin. Like, it's going to go ahead and mount so much pressure on you. But guess what? If we begin to have these conversations in the homes, we can send our daughter comfortably to school, and she doesn't have to be pressured that just because she's a virgin and everybody around her is not. She don't got to be pressured about it. Our young men, our sons, will not have to be like, oh my goodness, among all my friends, I gotta lie about it. Like, they will be proud and say, you know what? I know about SES. I can't even spell it. I know about SES. I know about this. I know about that. And I'm not pressured about it. I know about it. Because what happens, curiosity is what gets a lot of people in trouble. Curiosity is not always good. Then, because they're like, oh, I'm so curious. How does it feel? How does, and this, and just start getting in so much trouble. And then, long story short, I don't give pussy belly. I don't do belly. This don't happen. This don't happen. So it's uncomfortable. As you can tell, I'm still uncomfortable talking about it. Bring this out to a public, but please, especially my African families, mama, papa, duya, abeguna. There's a way, okay, maybe you're not comfortable, but you can have somebody who you trust talk to your child about it. When we talk to our kids in our own home, in the comfort of our homes, yes, they're still going to go out there, because kids will be kids, and go out there and look for stuff. The internet will literally flash it across their face all the time. However, it will be in their mind that they know what a healthy, sacred relationship is supposed to look like. They will know about consent. They will know about protection. I'm not saying that I support you and go do it. That's what I'm saying. But they will know these things, and it's easier for them to be guided rather than being guided by the wrong source. So please do that. Talk to your children. Tell them about safe SES. Oh, no, we'll talk again. Talk to them. Please. Instead of being in a rush and say, you, look at you do man business. Okay? Oh, y'all, that took a lot for me to say. Okay, I'm gonna let this go because I'm already uncomfortable and I'm here talking about let's talk to our kids, but I'm trying to be more comfortable and vocal. I'm trying. But honestly, if a lot of us had taken the time to speak to our loved ones, to speak to our siblings, those of you who've learned when you grew up, who didn't get it from mommy and daddy, and you kind of find yourself in that role, parental role, talk to your other siblings about it. Okay? If we had done that, if they had done that, a lot of stuff that we were so curious about to find out because everybody else was doing, we would not have involved ourselves. It would have been so much safer. And guys, if you're here and your child has this thing called a smartphone that is literally a window to everything in the world, please be ready to have certain conversations. If you can give your child a cell phone at the age of 7, 6, 5, there are certain conversations that you can have with them. Because no matter how much you put that parental block, if you do, no matter how much you have their password, if you do, no matter how much, oh, let me check your history browser, let me check it, no matter how much you do that, somehow, they will have access to what they're not supposed to have. So please, by all means, there's certain conversations we need to have with our kids. Don't let the world have those conversations with them. Don't let the world teach those kids the wrong way. Because when the world does it, it's not going to be the way you would have wanted it to. Okay? All right, I'll see you guys in our next video.